McCauley at Pray It Off in Syracuse, New York. Now, I think anyone who watched the first week's blogs, Back in the Saddle, heard that we, at this Catholic weight loss group in Syracuse, New York, put on a couple of pounds over the pandemic. And the primary reason, I think hands down, everyone would say, was stress. Would anyone say there's maybe there's other reasons, but I would say it's one of the main ones. Everyone agree? Yeah? Stress? Okay. So, what do we do about that? Now, you might say, Ellen, I really know how to manage stress, I just don't do it. I don't know then, because if we know how to do it and we don't do it, do we go into a fugue state or something? Maybe. Or maybe there's so much stress. I mean, because you got to admit, a once-in-a-lifetime global pandemic is kind of stressful. Anyone agree with that?
Yes.
I mean, we never had that happen before. We didn't know. We didn't know. Everyone takes the vaccine for granted. How many prayers, how many novenas did we say for that vaccine? And so many people take it for granted or don't believe in it at all. And I say, God heard our prayers so that we can have Pray It Off now, so that we can have a semblance of a life. Here's the number one thing I think just about everyone who writes things down, who kept a log during the pandemic, did well. Now, I gained a few pounds, but I could have gained a lot more. Logging helps me. Planning helps. If you know on Friday what you're going to get at the grocery store because you're making a list and you're planning your meals. My husband and I, Friday night, that's what we do. What are we going to eat this week? How about Saturday night, Sunday night? How about salads? We're doing on the salads. We write it down. We go to the stores. Bing, bang, boom. When you don't plan and it's Friday night and you're tired, I don't know about you guys. I got up at 4 o'clock this morning. I have been going since 4 o'clock. I come here from work. I don't know about you guys, but at night you're tired. And if you don't go home with a salad and salmon on it already, you're going to say, how about a pizza? I'll be good next week. If you do not plan ahead, you're tired. You're going to say, and you know, isn't that what we did so much during the pandemic? Well, I don't have to weigh in and Pray It Off, and it's just a really stressful week. I'm going to have some drinks. I'm going to have some cookies, and I'm going to do it next week. Now, my daughter, Shannon, in Vegas, started this candy company. I never told any of you about it because I don't want you to buy any of it. It is the best candy in the world. She says to me, do you want some for your birthday? And I'm like, It's pecans with butter and sugar. I mean, it's just to die for. But don't you go looking on Facebook and try to. But the point is, if you do not plan, and here's something else you do. You go, ooh, you know, my size 14 pants are a little tight, but I gave away all my 16s because I promised myself I'd never wear a 16 again. What am I going to do? And then you go to Marshall's and you go to the markdown rack and you say, I'm just going to get this one little pair of 16s just to tide me over till Pray It Off comes. And the next thing you know, you're wearing 18s. You know what I mean? You play these games with yourself. Here's signs that you're too stressed out. You're worried, you're angry. How many angry Americans are there these days? I drove from the on-center, up Harrison, through Onondaga, up Delaware, up Grand, to Onondaga Road, down there, down the other Onondaga Road, all the back roads. I almost got killed 4 times on the way here tonight. People go out in front of you. Pedestrians too, they're like, I have the right of way, and they run out in front of your car, and you're like, eh! So it's just nerve-wracking. People are angry drivers. They're angry to other people. They're judgmental. Weight gain is a sign of stress. Now, there are people, not in this room really, but there are people who lose weight when they're stressed. Now, over the past 10 years, I went to the ER twice. Once when I had a bleeding ulcer and had no idea, and another time when I had a terrible virus pre-COVID. Both times I couldn't eat. That's close to death for me. I said to Bob said, I didn't know when to take you to the ER. I said, Bob, when I don't eat, that's when you take me to the ER. My sister and I always said we could be like sicker than a dog. We always eat. So be careful about that kind of stress. Tense muscles, ooh, hard time sleeping. And there is, it starts down here where it says stress is different for everyone. Take this quiz to better understand your stress. If you're online, there's right on the first page, it's got an HTTPS. Take that quiz. It's fun, it's interesting. I really highly recommend it. Also, you know, short-term stress means you have a lot to do in a short amount of time. You know what that's called, everybody? Life. We all have a lot to do. We all have a finite amount of time. Even retired people. A lot of people say, oh, I'm going to retire, and then I'll just sit around watching Netflix all day. No, you don't. Jean's one of the busiest people I know. She didn't retire till a few years ago. You know, people are still busy even when they're retired. Also, long-term stress. Everyone has different things in their life. You look at me, you think you know my life. You say, I know Ellen. Do you really? Do I really know you? Do you have a sick father-in-law, a sick mother-in-law? Do you have a child who's estranged from the family? Do you have bill problems? Are you having trouble robbing Peter and paying Paul? We don't know things in each other's lives that are causing us stress. But I'll tell you one thing, the food never makes it permanently better. Maybe temporarily, but never permanently. You know what else? You can always tell when I'm stressed because I'm snappy and I cry. I'm like, oh, I try so hard, I work so hard. I feel sorry for myself. I have a pity party. Anyone else have pity parties? Oh, no one works as hard as me. I try so hard, I work so hard. And you know how long it lasts? Very short. I get very sick of my own pity parties. They're very boring. I'm like, oh, okay, Ellen, that's enough. And you know what? It's hard to tell other people. You say, you know, I'm feeling a lot of stress. And they're like, you? Let me tell you about my stress. And you're like, wait a minute, I haven't even told you my stress yet. And you're already telling me your stress. You know, the only one you can really get away with it is your husband. Because you can say, do not talk until I'm done talking. And then he'll say the same thing to me. I'm going to tell you something, and I don't want you to say anything till the end. When he says it to me, I'm like, oh my gosh, what's he going to say? And it's hard. I'm like this. We've done that. Don't say anything till the end. Also, we just need to realize that everything that's ever happened in our lives, all the stressful things, we're here. We're here. We survived them all. We survived them all. Every worst fear that we had, some of them were awful. Some of us have gone through some pretty terrible things, but guess what? We survived. We're here. So that's why I think meeting, sharing things, and you know what else doesn't make it better? Alcohol and drugs. It doesn't. You think it does. And somebody said to me, you know, Ellen, I think you should try that medical marijuana because there's no calories in it. And I said, do you know what an addictive personality I have? I'd be down laying in the gutter on South Salina Street, and people would be going, what do you want? I go, more medical marijuana. The last thing I'm going to start is another habit? Really? No, I'm not judging you. If you're sitting out there going, well, geez, Ellen, I've been taking medical marijuana. It's been really helping me. Great. But it's not for me. Also, I'm going to stop right there, Bobby.